like to start off by saying that I did come for you guys, but we also have an extensive roadmap to recovery. So I'm in LA quite often lately, unfortunately. I handed out these. If there's anybody that did not get one, please raise your hand and we'll get one to you. We have our Department of Insurance gals who are going to hand some out. So keep your hand up. Today, what I'm going to cover, again, we don't sell insurance. We are a nonprofit that helps you navigate your insurance after disaster. We do a lot of advocacy. We've been around for 35 years, and this is our preparedness program. So the white page that you have is a mock insurance policy. I want you to look at the dwelling coverage. Your policy will look similar to this. It may not line perfectly, but it will look very similar. That dollar amount that you have under dwelling for this policy is $300,000. This person is woefully underinsured. As you go down, you will see an arrow on the right side, a blue arrow that says replacement value. And it says 150%. That does not mean you have 150% of replacement value. It means that you have 50% more than what is in your dwelling coverage. So on this policy, you would have $450,000. Take those numbers on your policy, divide them out by your square footage. That's how much you know. That's how you find out whether you're properly insured. We can't give you guidelines, but I can tell you that in LA, that it's $450 is probably the least expensive right now. But every disaster is different, and all of the different components of the disaster are different that make that number change. Your other structures or anything that does not attach to your house, garages, fences, sheds, decks, your personal property. If you were to take your house upside down and shake it, that falls out on the ground is your personal property. That is not the hardest part about personal property. It's about making that damn list afterwards. There is a website, bevelmade.com. BEVELMADE.com. He is creating it into an app as we speak. But in the big picture, he created that because his family lost their home in the Palisades, and it is AI-backed. You can take a picture and upload it, and AI will capture what's in the picture and price it. It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn good. And then it'll put it in a Google Doc for you. Your loss of use, most people don't recognize that it doesn't pay for you to your mortgage. It pays for you to be out of your home. So that added expense, an elevated rent, mileage back and forth from your everyday activities. If you have solar and you end up in a place that doesn't have solar and your electrical bill is $200 more a month, those are the kind of things you can charge to that. Renting some of your contents. What you want to do with that figure is divide it out by 36 to see if you would have enough to survive for up to 36 months. In a non-declared disaster, that is good for up to 24 months. But in a declared, it's up to 36 months. And the people in the Palisades and Altadena right now are struggling with that because they're running out of money before they're running out of the time. So they're not having that extra resource, paying your rent and paying your mortgage, or being retired and having, your finances all dialed in. It doesn't work. So make sure you have enough. Generally, the way you do that is to increase your coverage of your dwelling because it's a percentage of your dwelling. Your dwelling will make your prices go up, but raise your deductible. Get multiple estimates from your insurance because really they just push a button. do the $1,000, $2,500, $5,000. I have mine at $10,000. I don't want to file small claims because I know doing a couple will get me non-renewed. Code upgrades are the last thing. It's on the bottom in small print for those of you that are my age and can't see it. And that is really important to recognize. That brings your house from the year it was built to today's California code standards. You can't build without that. I lost my home in 2017 in the Tubbs fire in Santa Rosa. My house was 1,500 square feet. Rebuilt in 2018, that was $68,000. If you do not have enough in that, it comes out of your pocket. It can't come out of the dwelling coverage, just so you know. I have a slew of other paperwork that I'm going to go through fairly quickly. And you have that all attached, and I've stapled it not to annoy you as much as just to make sure you get all of them. So if you are non-renewed, know that they have to give you 75-day notice. If you're within 75 days of your renewal date and you pass that, you're safe for another year. Isn't that lovely? That's what we're leading our lives around now. If you get non-renewed, please call an insurance broker. They have access to about 80% of the market, as opposed to just a few different, maybe a non-admitted carrier, and then Farmers has Farmers and Foremost, and they don't have the volume and the access. There is 4 insurances I need to explain to you really quickly. There's the admitted carrier, which is like Farmers, State Farm. They are backed by they pay into an insolvency plan so that you would be secured by up to $500,000 if something was to go wrong. They also are regulated by the Department of Insurance. Then there are the non-admitted carriers. They do not pay into an insolvency plan, and they are not regulated by the Department of Insurance. There still is a place for them. We don't like them because you don't have as much power over them, but unfortunately in our world, we have to accept not necessarily all that we like, because generally those plans could be more accessible to you than the California Fair Plan, price-wise. Sometimes not. California Fair Plan of last resort. We all know that nobody wants to be on that and that it's a struggle. Please know that out of the box, that's a generic policy. It covers fire insurance. It will only cover your dwelling, not these other buckets that we just went over. You have to add those to have a comprehensive policy. You also have to add a difference in condition policy, which will cover water, theft, liability. It's just really important that you encompass this and you have the information to ask your agent or your broker. Last but not least, we never used to have to educate about this. It's the lender-placed policy. What happens is you get a notice from your bank, your mortgage company, that says you failed to show us proof of insurance, and we have put insurance on your mortgage. They recommend, after a bunch of gobbledygook, that you actually find your own policy. It should be cheaper and cover more. That lender-placed policy only covers your mortgage. It does not cover your personal property. It does not cover your loss of use. It's just to pay the mortgage off. So I think we're finding more of it simply because people can't find insurance or they can't afford what they're finding. But just know what that looks like. And your blue paper is as Brenda mentioned, the IBHS, which is in South Carolina. Every guy's dream job, doesn't matter if you're 5 or you're 80. They build things to destroy them. They are funded by the insurance industry. They have come up with these standards to keep your house, to make it less attractive to fire. Also, in a nutshell, this is how you retain your insurance. I will touch very briefly on earthquake insurance, not because I think that everybody's rich and they can afford all this, because I know that fire insurance is expensive, right? Earthquake insurance, what you should know is that the CEA, the California Earthquake Authority, is the main source of earthquake insurance, but there's other companies that will write, and usually they're a little cheaper. There's also, but if you go on the CEA website, they have a program they open up, it's not year-round, for policyholders and then one for people who are not policyholders. It's called a Brace and Bolt Lottery. And if you sign up for that, you'll have a chance of getting a grant, and it covers about half the cost to brace and bolt your house to the foundation. Flood insurance, again, I don't expect everybody to have it. What you need to know is that there's a 10 to 30-day wait, depending on who you claim that insurance through, before it'll become active. So if they're building the ark, you're too late. And finally, renter's insurance. Do I think you guys are renters? No, I think you guys are here because you're homeowners. But with the state of things in California, in the US, renter's insurance is really important. If you have somebody living in your house that is, 70% of people are underinsured. You will not have the resources to help that person get back on their feet if they don't have renter's insurance. We all have kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews. This is an amazing gift. It's generally less than $2 a month. And as a gentleman in Auburn said to me, so I paid for my kids to have renter's insurance all through college, and now they're out of college, but they're still renters, and I need to buy them this so they don't move in with me when something happens. That could be a real good push in your quest to make sure that everybody's covered. And last but not least, the home insurance checkup. And what I want you to get from this is really making sure that whatever questions, and there's some on this form, any questions you ask your insurance agent, please follow up with an email recap. It's imperative. It's your only proof that you had that conversation. And if you ask them if you had enough for an entire loss, if you lost everything, do you have enough insurance? And they say yes, or they give you advice that you need this, this, and this, capture that. The biggest thing we learned in the Marshall Fire in Colorado was there was all of 3 people who had that documentation. And they were able to take it to their Department of Insurance and be made whole. So follow that up. Now I'm going to be really, really quick. As I said, I lost my home in 2017 in the Tubbs fire, and I've put together a few quick things. Please, we do not memorize phone numbers. Put 5 important phone numbers, one out of the area, on a piece of paper in your glove compartment. You may not get out with your phone. I got out in 2.5 minutes. My neighbor got out in 4. Back bumper of her car was melted. You probably won't have time. If you're looking for clothes, simply grab your dirty clothes basket. Those are the clothes you wear. The night of my fire, I got out with my dog, my purse, and I got dressed, and I grabbed some money in a drawer. The only thing at this point that I would do different is I have a photo album next to the door that I would grab that's been reproduced for me, and I live with my boyfriend, so if he was having an exceptionally good day, I'd take him too. Please make sure you have some small bills. You're not Maui, you're not an island, so you won't lose internet everywhere, but there's no guarantees your credit cards will work. So make sure you have small bills to get some food, gas, the very basics. As I said, bevelmade.com is amazing. Take pictures of your prescription drugs. Most pharmacies will give you a 3-day emergency supply if you have the whole label. You may have your go bag. You may not be home when it's time to go. And, neighbor to neighbor is imperative. You guys are the first responders. No first responder will get in to help you faster than your neighbors. So get to know each other, share contacts, find out who has strengths, who needs help, all of those things. Put a lockbox on your house. Telling someone, they're about 25 on Amazon, telling someone that you have a key on the second rock underneath the kitchen window by the tree is not efficient. If you have pets, you have kids, you have seniors, make sure you do that. And last but not least, if your home is in a trust, make sure your trust is named on your insurance policy. If your trust owns your home, that's required for you not to have to jump through hoops to get those payments. And that's what I have for you today.